LakelandCarKeys.com. I'm currently sitting in the 2012 Volkswagen Jetta. The customer recently purchased this car, and she did have two keys with it. This one, the blade was broken out of it, and the remote wasn't programmed. The other one she did have, the remote was programmed. It started the car, but after a while, it started coming up as no key detected. So I came out here to see if I can get it to read, and what I was going to do was I was just going to clone a regular transponder key like this so it'll be able to start the car. That her other key, the transponder itself started lifting off the board, so the remote part worked, but the transponder did not work. I tried seeing if I can solder it back in place, but that didn't work. I was actually able to pull the emo data by OBD with the Autel Im508. It did have a mode where I'm going to assume it rewrote the CS data into the cluster. Or maybe it was just able to pull the data from the cluster. But basically, when you have a key, if I put a key into my programmer and read the information, it has a password, and the last two digits, which are called bytes of the password, the key won't have. You have to get it from the car. But the only way to get it from the car is to have a working key where you can turn it on and the car recognizes the key, and then you can get, the rest of that password and program new keys. So neither one of the keys that she had worked, and we weren't able to do that. But whatever, I don't know if it's an update or, maybe this is just one of the older systems. I was able to do it by OBD, and it allowed me to program a new chip in. So what I did was I programmed a X-Horse clonable chip and programmed it to the vehicle, so the vehicle will start up, and they have this transponder key as a backup, so they'll never have to run into that situation again. And then what I did was I took another X-Horse universal, it's a ID48 megamos glass chip, but they're clonable, and I glued it to her original keyboard, her original remote board, and placed where that transponder chip was soldered onto the board. So the remote itself is still programmed. So, and the transponder is now in position so that if I go ahead and put the key in, I can start the vehicle. It will remain running, and they're good to go. And then they also have this clone transponder, just a plain transponder key, no remote. It will unlock the doors, it will turn the ignition, but it'll also start the car and they'll be able to run. So, this is why I always tell people, especially with Volkswagens, any European car, if you only have one key, don't wait. Go see if you can get, another key made, a backup. A lot of the Volkswagens, I am able to make something like this where I just cloned the information from the original key and is now on this key. So if the original key does break or die or whatever, this key will still be able to access the security system. You won't be stranded. You'll be able to drive the car. So, and then obviously her old key, I put it in a new shell. So it has a new shell, new chip in the original board. I cut the blade. The original Volkswagen keys, I caution people all the time, they get worn out, and sometimes the case has to be replaced. And they have these little pins. There's a pin there, and usually there's a pin down the bottom. And what happens is people try to change these cases, and they push the pin in, and the pin actually knocks a resistor or the chip off the board and makes the key no longer function for the transponder, which is a worst case scenario. And I think that's what happened. The previous owner to this car tried to open up that key, and because when I broke the case apart and opened it up, there was some glue on the transponder trying to hold it to the board, but at this point the solder pads had lifted off the board and it wasn't really recoverable. So, I always tell people, caution pushing those pins in, trying to replace these shells. What I do now is I just break them apart. I get a pair of snap ring pliers and I put them in there and I spread it until the case just cracks apart, and I get the board out intact in one piece. Alright, so I just want to show you a solution that I was able to do for a 2012 Volkswagen Jetta. This is what we would have considered all keys lost, even though I had a blade to copy. There was no transponder able to start the car, and now they have two working keys, their main key and their backup. Alright, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. LakelandCarKeys.com.